Boys in the hood have to beat down Ice Cube? Hell no. I will say, I keep my nine anyway. For the day that one of my homies want to squab, I'm still rolling with the lynch mob. Famous words, 1980 something like that, from Ice Cube. I know I probably messed the lyrics up a little bit in there, but hey, it's Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, something Tuesday, right? But great movie, one of my favorite movies. And just real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to some of the guys who, unfortunately have lost, that I had grown up with. Marty, Willie, Dame, and a couple of those guys lost really, really early in life. Teenagers, Lavelle, just a couple of guys, who I grew up with. And when you are one of the boys in the hood, to say, it's a different kind of experience growing up. And this is kind of, to piggyback a little bit off of, like I was talking about yesterday, the gratuitous violence that's been happening around the country, just in different cities, but in particular in this city of Philadelphia. I had a conversation with a buddy, and, yesterday he was saying, hey, that's because a lot of times people live on top of each other. You got a lot of black people in particular in the inner cities living on top of each other. And one of the things I gave to him, one of the pushbacks I gave to him was that, okay, all right, well, let's test that theory. You got all of these higher end apartment buildings that people live on top of each other. They have to share some common spaces. And you don't hear about any incidents inside of these buildings where, sometimes you might have 1,000 residents, 1,500 residents. You never hear about any of these kinds of things. But, I got what he was saying. So sometimes, depending on people's socioeconomic levels of where they're at financially, does determine how much violence and crime will be in a neighborhood. But when you think about it, as I was going to talked about yesterday, there has to be strong leadership in any community. There has to be. And that's why I was really focusing a lot on the fathers yesterday. But also, too, want to focus on our mothers, or the mothers in the community. And I get it, women, or the mothers do the best job that they can do. And I also got to give a shout out to a lot of great grandmothers. They do a lot of the heavy lifting and watching and feeding the kids in our communities. Boyz N The Hood was about, if you've never seen it, it's about the trials and tribulations seen from the late director John Singleton's eyes as to what was going on, especially when it came to gang violence out in Los Angeles. So, I remember when I saw that, I was like, whoa. I was like, wow. I was like, because, we had already known about colors and just different stuff like that. So they're like, wow, that stuff out there, that gang stuff is really real. And they do drive-bys and they do all of this other kind of stuff. But yet to know that 25, 30 years later, it would start to plague East Coast cities as well. Chicago as well. Drive-bys where, and now, unfortunately, that I think that just about all of us know what a switch is, making a handgun from a semi-automatic to a fully automatic, hence kind of making it a machine gun. We all know these things. We all have now experienced or heard about a drive-by. Until I had seen Boyz N The Hood, one of those movies, I never even knew what a drive-by was. But, I was young. I was 12, 13 years old or whatever when NWA came out, maybe 14. So I didn't know a lot of this stuff. But when it comes down to being a boy in the hood, what typically helps is that you need some type of strong male guidance. You need someone who's going to help you see stuff. And unfortunately, it's not always your father, but it should be somebody who's like a big brother or a figure or a good uncle or someone who can help you navigate through just stuff that's going to happen that's around you. Like most likely somebody under the age of 15 is going to have a gun on them, maybe 2 or 3 people. Now it seems like everyone has a gun. You're going to have some friends that sell drugs. You're going to have some friends that do things that typically may be viewed as adult-esque behavior. And you need somebody, because like if mom is working or if mom has a lot of kids and dad's not home, then what happens is that there's this gap where kids can get into trouble, and kids do get into trouble. And you may say, well, why are you saying this? Why are you bringing this stuff up? It's because, I talk about a lot of different things, and you guys comment about a lot of different things, and I appreciate it, especially a lot of the feedback we got about talking about P. Diddy. But he's already made it. Even though he's a boy kind of from the hood, but he's already made it. So it would be wrong for me not to focus on, like I said the other day, maybe yesterday, about being a degree of separation away from shooting victims, away from homicide victims, people who have committed homicide. And a lot of people know what I'm talking about. If you grew up in the inner city, that's a lot of what you experience as being a boy in the hood. And if you think about it, the operative word being boy in the hood, why is there never a talk of man of the hood? Where that man of the hood is somebody who's strong, who's somebody who commands respect, and that is widespread. So as opposed to man of the hood, men of the hood, where men are commanding a certain amount of respect. And I get it. A lot of people, especially after you start having kids and you do your thing, you don't want to go outside and stand. And, I remember my mom used to walk around. It was a bunch of them walking around with, what do you call those things? Hard hats on, saying, stop, no to drugs, stop using drugs, stop selling drugs, stop hanging out on the corners and all of this other kind of stuff. And it was great effort. It was a great, valiant effort. But as soon as they leave, what happens? It's back to a reality that is becoming an epidemic. It's becoming an epidemic. It is an epidemic. And like I said yesterday, people want to try to blame it on, oh, that's a Democratic town and that's a blue state where all of this stuff happens at. No, that's not what it is. It's a lot deeper than that. I'm not ever going to politicize that. Oh, so what happens? Let's just say this. Let's flip it. Let's just say now Philadelphia, which is 85 to 90% Democrat. Let's just say if they flipped it to Republican, had a Republican mayor. We've had a Republican governor within the last 15 years. Hasn't made a darn bit of difference to what the crime and the shooting has been. And yeah, they'll always say, oh, well, this is down and homicides and things like that are down. But like I say to people, just because a person didn't die from being shot, there are a lot of people that get paralyzed. There are a lot of people that lose eyes. There are a lot of people that lose their vision altogether. They may suffer a broken hip, depending on what type of bullet it is. They may lose a leg. They may lose an arm. They may lose fingers. I saw the one with the young lady from Chicago, one of the shooting victims from Chicago over the weekend. And when I tell you she's lucky, but she got on social media and posted a picture of her mouth and her lips. It looked like her lips were like crazy swollen and broken up or something. And she showed where one of the bullets went in here, okay, and then knocked out a bunch of her teeth. All right, just from somebody spraying all over the place. A bullet went in there, and she's very, very lucky that the bullet didn't strike maybe 4 or 5 inches more over here, maybe causing her to be blind or dead. So, my thing is we're the men of the hood. And like I said yesterday, it can't start with just saying, hey, look, all you guys, come on, gather around and do the right thing. No, we have to start this from birth. And the reason why I bring this up and say this is that, I'm hoping that this message gets out to somebody, or, people, maybe there's a couple guys out there that may not look at their job as a father as an elite level position. But I'm here to tell you now, you being a father, you being a present father, you don't even have to have all the money in the world. You don't even have to have much, but just be a present father. So that way, maybe one day when your son is looking at a certain decision, he says, no, man, no, my papa kick my you-know-what if that happens. No, man, I'm not doing that, because I got respect for my dad, because I saw my dad have respect for the other people that were around. He didn't need to smoke weed out in front of everybody or little kids. He didn't need to walk around with his shirt off like, he was the biggest, baddest person on the block. But what he did show me is that I'm a man. I'm not a boy of the hood. I'm a man of the hood. Because let's face it, everybody can't get out. A lot of people's financial situations are different. I know mine was different. It happens. But guess what we're not here to do? Cry over spilled milk. We're here to make a change. We're here to hopefully, like I said, that somebody hears something and takes something out of it and says, you know what? Maybe I can do a little more as a man of the hood, or even a man from the hood. Because it's a shame, right? When you keep hearing that people are not even getting a chance to become men or young women. They should give it a chance to become men and women and be healthy doing it. Not with bullet holes in them. And I understand it's always going to be issues. There's always going to be shootings. There's always going to be things that happen. But I can almost guarantee if we have more men of the hood and less boys of the hood, we will see substantial changes. So, this is the last one for me as far as with this one for now. But like I said, I just felt the need to address it because I know most of us out here, a lot of us out here, especially if you grew up in the inner city, have experienced something like that. Death, early death, incarceration, shootings, beatings, stabbings. And we can't just act like none of this stuff happens and just go on with our regular scheduled program. We have to step up. Words do mean something. We have to say stuff. We have to put it into the universe that we are going to work this out, that things are going to get better for our communities. Because like I said, or like has been said in the past, bullets don't have any names on them, right? So you don't want to be the next contestant to catch one because there were not enough people to embrace other people and try to make a difference in this thing. But as I always tell you, that's just one guy's opinion. But until next time, I want you to like, comment, well, I put it like this, like, comment, respectfully comment, all right? And share your viewpoint about some of this stuff, because a lot of people may feel like, hey, look, it's hopeless. It's a hopeless thing. You got a bunch of people that act wild and they just can't get themselves together. I don't feel that way, but it does hurt to see people that look like me act in a way. And here's the thing. Here's my last thing. It's not everybody. A lot of people are good, civil, hardworking people. It's not everybody. But we got to find a way to reach those that don't want to be as civil in this thing. But until next time, you know the drill. Live life. Don't let life live you.